Hello. So for almost 40 years I've been studying an ancient Finnic kantele tradition that lived within the runosong culture and disappeared with it in the early decades of the 20th century. And as a musician, I have naturally tried to learn it by playing it. Exploring this ancient music by doing it yourself contains a thought that through experiencing and making it, there is a possibility to gain such information that is inaccessible by merely looking at the subject from the outside. A thought that music has the ability to convey information about the human experience of the past that is theoretically beyond the reach of our time. The most detailed and extensive collections of this kantele tradition were made by the folk music researcher Arja Kastinen. In the summers of 1916 and 1917, he traveled through the remote villages of Karelia with a phonograph. In 1917, it was barlograph. I didn't find the English word for it. In Finnish, we say phonography and barlography. Okay. And he had a small hollow kantele with him from a museum. His aim was to collect the laments, kantele tunes and shepherd songs that were so scarce in the archives at the time. By bringing an old instrument, Väisänen gave those who didn't even own a kantele anymore the chance to play what they could remember. Supplemented by a short trip to Karelia in 1919 and later meetings with some individual tradition bearers, Väisänen made detailed observations about the scales, the old playing technique, and above all, the special aesthetics of the music within this ancient tradition. The copies of the wax cylinders are kept in the archives of the Finnish Literature Society in Helsinki. This is the map of the Karelian language areas. This is the current border between Finland and Russia. This part, Border Karelia and Ladoga Karelia, were part of Finland until the Second World War. And the most detailed information of this tradition is collected from here, Border and Karelia area. Some information was also collected in the 19th century from the Finnish North Karelia area and Vienna Karelia. The wax cylinder recordings of the Karelian kantele players present many challenges to the modern listener because, unlike singers, for example, Väisänen said that it was not possible to get the kantele close enough to the phonograph horn, and thus it was not able to record all of the highest and lowest sounds. For example, according to this spectrogram image, it seems that the phonograph was unable to properly record even the fundamental frequencies of the kantele. In this example, the tonic would be B-flat 3, that is about 236 Hertz. It's over here. And the total pitch range would be between 173 and 387. It's something around this area. The spectrogram shows the second harmonics much more clearly, B-flat 4 and F5. According to Väisänen, this meant that if he could not make transcriptions in the field, he would not be able to complete the notation perfectly later, because he couldn't hear all the music from the recording. In addition, the wax cylinders wore out during listening, because it seems that he made the recordings mainly for himself to make the transcriptions complete at home. And some of the cylinders were damaged during storage, so the copies made later are of rather poor quality. At the archives of the Finnish Literature Society, the wax cylinders were copied onto magnetic tapes in both the 1960s and 1980s. The copies from the 1960s are mono recordings and the later ones are stereo recordings. However, copies of all the kantele recordings from both decades do not exist. Now, of course, digital copies of the recordings are available. One more challenge is that the recorded examples are short, mostly dance tunes from the period, and as such do not allow for the hours of trance-like improvisation described by Väisänen and other scholars of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. But they do offer a sense of contact and some insights for musicians. I've made 2 publications from this archive recordings so far. I have changed the speed to match the original pitch that I found the information from Väisänen's field notes, and I have partly played along. The first publication is from 2021. It contains music from the blind kantele player Teppana Jänis. Taito Hoffren made some noise reduction at the studio. The second publication contains the archive recordings from Ivana Mishukka. He's also from the same area, Pohjois-Karelia, Suistamo. And these examples show clearly the problems with the poor sound quality. This publication contains both the original ones and edited ones with changed speed. This is recorded in 1905 by Armas Launis, and it's not, hello, wake up. No, Nani. This has not been edited. And so on, and this one was recorded by Väisänen in 1917, and in this is also the same dance tune that Teppana Jänis played in the previous recording. The dance tunes were both some of them came from the east, like the Maanitus from Russia, and this Markka from the west, from Finland. I start playing alone. Oh, okay. The third album is in progress. It will contain the rest of the kantele files in the archive with several kantele players. One of them is the famous runosinger Ivana Šemeikka. This audio example was recorded by Väinö Salminen in 1906. I do not know the original pitch, but it feels too fast, too high. And these were all illiterate people. So, just as the way of life of the Karelian kantele players was based on cyclical rather than linear thinking, it seems that their music was not perceived as a time-bound, linearly progressing event, but a state of being. The music does not evolve in time, it just is. It is an interaction, an energy between the musician and the sound. In the Runosan culture, music was an integral part of everyday life. It didn't have a beginning or an end. You could enter or leave at any time without interrupting its essence. This is shown in the recorded tunes so that the musicians varied the tunes all the time. There was an irregular number of phrase repetitions, the length of the phrase could vary, and they could stop playing at any point in the music. This is an image of my first attempt to describe the experience of this sound field. Although it's presented here as a two-dimensional diagram viewed from the outside, it is actually a multi-dimensional network of interactions that only exists when experienced from the inside. It is made up of several variables that are constantly interacting with each other. All individual events in the sound field are always triggered by interaction. With which variable it takes place, to what extent and how. One of the variables is the instrument. Here are some examples of how the structure of the kantele and different string materials affect the sound. These first three instruments are from the 19th century, so they are from the time before these recordings. The music is improvised on the runosong melodies and played with the old plucking technique. This instrument is from 1833. It is the northern model hollowed out from below, so it has no bottom plate. It has bronze strings. this one is also the northern model. The previous one was from Vienna, Karelia, and this is from northern Ostrobothnia, which is to the west from Vienna. This is late 19th century. It has strings that resemble the sound of horsehair strings. And this one is from the border Karelia area where the previous musicians were from. So this is the southern kantele model. It is hollowed out from the top and has a separate top plate with small nails. It has 12 brass strings. And this one is from, the original model is from 1916, from border Karelia area, and it resembles already the change in the musical culture when they started to build bigger instrument from several pieces of wood. It has steel strings and metal tuning pegs, and most of the back cylinder recordings were made with these kind of instruments. So here just a short example of my improvisation based on this tradition or my thoughts about it. It uses these two instruments, the southern model 13 brass strings and the northern model 5 bronze strings. That's it. Oho. Thank you. Takkaro kohta.